Well, good morning. This is a really lovely ride. It's part of the TARKA Trail. It's another part of another ride that we have, and this one starts at Braunton. The other one finished at Braunton, and it works its way down to Bideford via Barnstaple. There's loads of cafes on the way. It's just a return journey, but it's really pretty most of the way, and as you can see, it follows the edge of the River Tor and then down into to Bideford, where they've also got the things, but there's some fantastic bridges and everything else. So here we are leaving from Braunton, and you can see the coast really well. You go past a couple of military bases as well, and this is heading your way into Barnstaple. Then we work our way around following the railway line the whole way. This is great. It's really smooth, it's very level, there's almost no incline whatsoever. We're going downstream very slightly here, and then we're heading upstream, so a very slight climb here, and you can see heading into Bideford with their famous bridge. Then we just crossed over there, we had a bit of lunch, and then we literally turned round. So the first time we went through Barnstaple, we came through the fancy bridge. This time we returned slightly different way across the new modern bridge and then back. It was getting quite late and we had to rush back because of the storm. So we started a lay-by just outside Braunton in a little road called Wrafton Road, and then you just head straight down. It's very easy to pick up the TARKA Trail. Just went through the edge of the village and you head towards the military base, and then we essentially follow the military base for a mile or so. So you go past the military base and then you'll find that it opens up into really pretty countryside, so a little bit of a dogleg there, and we're now following along beside the river, and you can see that it's very shallow, wonderful for birds. We saw loads of people walking along with their telescopes and their binoculars who've been going bird watching, so if that's your thing, then there's fabulous opportunities around here. Very popular with walkers as well, but you can see it opens up. Now for us, we were just at the beginning of Storm Eunice was about to start that evening, and so we had to make a bit of a rush on this because we were camping nearby, and that would have been pretty grim. But we work our way up towards Barnstaple, and you can see the new bridge, a few chicanes, but you can see it's the TARKA Trail is well off the line, over a small bridge near a little boat builders. Then you have to cut round in this little loop, well marked loop through the town, and then you have to a little circle in order to get up onto the top of the bridge. You go over the bridge, and then you need to follow the cycle path that's marked in the road. It's not over clear to begin with, and it can take you all sorts of peculiar places, but you'll get there eventually. So we work our way along. You didn't have to cross the road here. We did. We just felt because there was a lot of people on the pavement at the time, and then you cross back over it. Then you come through the back of a housing estate, and now we're onto the old railway line, and from here on it's pretty straightforward. You can see by the angle of the trees on the side here quite often just how windy it can be, but we follow our way along this path here. The surface, as you can see, is tarmacked throughout most of it, but there are the odd pothole and the odd root from a tree that's disturbed the surface, and I think there were a couple of cattle grids as well, but generally it's pretty good. Now we'd had a huge amount of rain, and it had washed quite a lot of mud onto the side, but we stopped at this point. This is about halfway along the route, and there was a coffee shop, sold ice creams, all sorts of things like that. And we just stopped for a little look around, and then we're back and on our way. Now this was a little bit more enclosed, this part, to begin with, and it was quite muddy. There was a lot of mud that's been stretched across the road because of the rain that's washed it there. But we work our way up. Now we're actually heading very gradually up the incline, because we're now heading up the second river, whose name I've completely forgotten. Quite a lot of walkers on the way, but they weren't a problem, and as long as you ping them early enough, then they know that you're there, and nobody's that bothered. They're also far less bothered by you when you're on a tandem, because you're a bit of a novelty. So we'll work our way through past what looked like a cement or gravel works, and then carry on. So that was a bit of a chicane, and this bit's much more exposed, and to be honest, it was actually quite cold. There was quite a strong wind blowing, not as brutal as it was later on that night. Through what looked like a bit of a holiday camp, but I think it's a military camp that's moved across to holiday camp. A lot of railway bridges and tunnels, and now we're working our way to Bideford station. Or one of the stations. It's not actually Bideford station. Haven't got that far yet. There's people living on these boats on the side over here, but you can see the road is still well tarmacked and it's in reasonable condition. And just up here you can see some cars parked on the left. That's an alternative starting place if you wanted to start there from this end that's a bit out of the way. So lots of cars parked there. And now we're heading in underneath the second of the huge bridges. We didn't tackle that one on our bike, not in the high winds. And we work our way through. Then we get into town, and this is where we've got Bideford station. So we're now heading up through the edge of town. All of this is new development underneath the big railway bridges, a couple of railway bridges that join together here, and here's the station, and you have to pass around and then cross over the tracks. Not that it's in any operation. And then we just went through the town over the bridge and then turned right to this massive car park that's there, and we had a little look around, grabbed a bite to eat, irritated a few seagulls, or gulls they are now. We're not supposed to call them seagulls anymore. Quite a pretty town, definitely worth a good walk around, but then we're back on the bike and off we go. Watch out for the traffic here, it is quite busy, but you cross the river and then back up towards the station, back through the car park, the station car park, and then straight back onto the TARKA Trail, and the return journey is actually pretty fast. What that disability vehicle's doing on here, I don't know, because it's got nowhere to go. You've got to keep going for miles before you can get off, and unless it's off-road, not quite sure how they're going to go, but bless them for trying. So this is quite a quick route back, and I won't necessarily speed the footage up for you, but give you a chance to see it from the other direction. It would be fine to do it in this direction, then you could add it on. So at Braunton you could just keep going all the way up the coast, keep following the TARKA Trail through a bit more woodland until you got up to Ilfracombe. there we are, crossing that bit. That's no good for a tandem at all. Several of these chicanes have been well adopted for bikes, but they are appalling for tandem. In the evening there are a few more walkers out and about, and the light was beginning to drop a little bit now. So this is middle of February, and we're about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Storm Eunice is on the way, and we were camping not far from Linton and Lynmouth, where, according to the Windy app, which is what the sailors use, it was going to be a day from hell coming up that night and then the following day. So we needed to get back and dismantle the awning on the side. So over a couple of little footbridges, back to that cafe. No time to stop this time. Make sure you take the right hand turn there. Work our way through, and we're going downhill now, so this bit is very fast if you wanted it to be. And when there weren't people around, I confess, we did allow a little bit of speed to pick up. And then we're heading back into Barnstaple, but this time we're going to do things differently, because you can see the modern bridge there on our left. So instead of departing and going through the edge of the town as we did before, this time we're going to turn left, I think, at this point, rather than going underneath the tunnel. We cross over the bridge, which was incredibly windy and covered in signs for the Samaritans. And then there's a little dogleg turn here, and then you join back on the TARKA Trail. And now it's heading back with our head full on into the wind. It was grim. Enjoyed it though, very pretty. It was fun, but it was hard work, head on. It was definitely starting to get dark at this point, but we're not far back now. We leave Bideford behind. Wonderful birds that had come out, so a lot of the waders, the tide was slightly higher, and it brought the birds a little bit more closely up to the shore, so more for us to see. But you can see it's getting quite dark in here. Camera's trying to compensate. But we work our way back through, and the naval base is just up ahead. I think it's Royal Marines. Crossover around the edge of the base, and that has us almost home. Their water tower is actually quite a good landmark to head for if you're not quite sure when you're further out of town. You can see it from quite a way off. So past the dog walkers, a lot of dogs, and in this time we're just now heading into the village of Braunton. Work our way through, you cross over the main road, around the back and up near the school and the school car park. That's where we stopped. So there we are, started at Braunton, worked our way down into Barnstaple. Possibilities for a stopover. You could alternately start this at the other end near Wesley, or get right the way down into Bideford. A really nice ride, and the TARKA Trail is well set out. Some people are quite negative about these things, but do turn to our tandem page on Komoot, and please give this video a like, and we'd love you to subscribe to us. And we've got loads more to come. We've got at least one more on the TARKA Trail, and then we're off to Yorkshire. So see you next time. Bye.